Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today is part 2 of our travel home. This is about a 1,000-mile trip. So we were down in Mississippi visiting some family. Now we're heading back up, and yeah, this should be a pretty good video for you guys. So be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. I thought it'd be worth mentioning, since we're full-time, if you are in the market for an RV, one thing I would strongly recommend you look at is your slides, to make sure you have room to get to the areas that you would like to get to if you're traveling and you don't want to have to open up your slides.
Wow, look at that beast. Sweet home Alabama.
Alright, so we have left the campground and we're on a little bit wider road. We were on these back roads. Man, I get so much anxiety because I can see the trailer kind of going back and forth, and I take turns, especially when there's not a lot of space. And I can see that as you get deeper into the country, the roads get narrower on each side, so yeah. But I have not gotten diesel yet. I got about 10 miles before my fuel light comes on. So hopefully on this road we'll run into some diesel stations that's big enough for us to get something. But that's one thing I will say. If you're going to these campgrounds that are deep out in the country, it may be a good idea to try to top off before you get off the interstate, because I wasn't paying attention, and normally we should start really looking at the roads more and just make sure there are fuel stations, because you don't want to run out of fuel with a big old fifth wheel. We're probably going to stop here within the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll do our first fuel up. Alright guys, so here we are. First fill up. And look at that, diesel number 2. So guess how much diesel is here? $4.39 to go with it. I think we're gonna break $100 today. I think I gave them $100, so we'll see. They say it's 15 cents cheaper down the road though, so I'm like, darn. But we were on fumes, so it is what it is. No big deal. Let's go, Brandon. So here are the pictures for the first weigh-in. Unfortunately, the fuel station I was at would not allow me to do more than $100, and they never gave me a receipt for the other one. But I did go online and pull the number, so it's 104.37 was the actual, and then I bought 23.738 gallons of diesel, and if you do the math at the pump, it was 10.4 mpg compared to 10.3 on the computer. So you remember how earlier I was telling you that if you want to use your kitchen, if you don't want to go out to eat all the time when you're traveling, you want to make sure you pick a floor plan that will allow you to use, the majority of your fifth wheel. So this is pretty much what we look like when we are traveling. We can use our bed. We can still get into our closet on this side. We always take clothes out because we live in it full-time, guys. I did reinforce it, but I can see that it's going to come back down again, so I still take stuff off. It takes us 30 seconds, so why not just avoid any problems? And yeah, we can still use our bathroom. If you have a water pump, you can fill it up with water. I have dual batteries, so I can still use pretty much everything in here. So I hit water pump. If you want to use a water heater, you can use the gas for that, but if you want to use electric, I think you have to be hooked up to 50 amp for that. And as you guys can see, my fresh water is completely filled up. I have dual batteries. I'm at 12.5 volts. And like I said, if I want to use my bathroom, I can pretty much do that. Now I'll be honest with you, we've been staying at campgrounds for like 1 and 2 days. I've still been dumping. I don't like the idea of, stuff in my black tank. so I dump it every time. I don't know, I'm just really bad. I don't like the idea of riding up and down the road, that swishing back and forth. So, I mean, everyone has their thing. That's my thing. So, I always turn my water pump off when we're traveling. I mean, I don't think nothing would happen, but why have it on if, you know, you're going down the road? So, we're gonna go ahead and get back on the road now. Like I said, we just stopped, and I did notice another car across the street over here. It's like a Ford, I don't know if it's F-250, 350, pulling the Sydney, what, Outback, I think it says? I can't read that far. So, again, let's go ahead and get back on the road, and I will touch base when we stop to get fuel again. All right, so we've been driving now for about an hour, is that right? Hour and a half, give or take. We're about to cross into another time zone, and we're in Tennessee right now. We were just in Alabama. We're doing a lot of grade climbing here. I'm at 9.9 mpg at 122 miles. We've been traveling now for about 2 hours and 20 minutes. So all in all, pretty good trip. The truck's been doing great. The temperatures are a little bit higher. Well, actually, the coolant is 190, but the oil temp's at 206, which hasn't been that high yet. But the Eisen's at 167. Again, has no idea it's towing the trail right now. So that's one thing I love about this transmission. It's the worst one when it comes down to livability day to day when it's unloaded, but when you're towing, it's really good. Holds the gears for you, and it just really delivers that torque really strong. Miles till empty, I have 171 more miles. I normally stop around like 50 because that's when the gas light comes on. So we'll stop. So 100 miles will probably be another hour and a half, 2 hour drive. And then we'll top off from there, and I'll let you guys see what the fuel economy is. Well, guys, some of the dumb things you have to deal with when you own an RV is these cheap everything. Everything's cheap in RV. This latch, actually this one didn't come undone, probably because of the tape we put on here, but this side seems to be the problem. I'm gonna bend this thing. Let me see something real quick. So even though I have, this is all latched in. Oh, see, now this one came, oh, that's because I don't have it latched. Here. I don't know how this is coming undone. Makes no sense. But somehow, some way, it's doing it. So I'm gonna undo this latch here. Here. We're gonna bend these. All right, so I just bent this as much as I can. Last time all my tools were behind the other slide, so I couldn't even get back there. I didn't feel like opening the slide, so I bent it as much as I can. Now I'm just gonna kind of compare it to this one to make sure it's pretty similar, and it looks like it is pretty similar. I think we're good to go. You know, what you can do too, I'm gonna just bend this back a little bit too. Yeah, these are dumb things about RVs. I hate how cheap they are. You know, our basement door was flapping open the other day, and this did the same thing. So it's just a pain in the butt. So it looks like it looks good. I think this should fix it. Yep, this is good. All right, so we fixed the window. I think Hannah probably showed you guys the footage. I just taped it up a little bit, but I fixed the latches as best I could. As you guys can see, we're gonna have some stop and go traffic. So I'll show you guys the numbers on my spreadsheet, okay? Alrighty, so we're sitting in stop and go traffic, and I just want to show you guys my Eisen finally figured out that it's towing today. It's at 185 degrees. which is normal. I've been doing a lot of stop and go for like the last 15-20 minutes, and it'll probably be this way for like another 20 minutes or so. But once we break free from all this traffic, I'll check back in and show you guys. Like I said, that's the highest I've ever seen it, 183. So 210 is the oil temp, so that's pretty much, you know, within spec of who you're towing. Normally it's like at like 194 or so when it's unloaded. So with all this stop and go traffic, you know, it's definitely heating her up a little bit. And then here's just a quick peek at the fuel economy. It keeps going up and down. I'm surprised I'm at 10.4. We've been climbing grades. We've been in and out of traffic all day today since it's, you know, basically 5:41. It's 5 o'clock traffic here around Tennessee. So truck overall is doing a pretty good job. I mean, when the Cummins gets around 30K on the clock, it does a really good job of, you know, maintaining that pretty good fuel economy. All right, we're finally moving again. Transmission temp's going down a little bit. So is the coolant. The oil's still kind of high, but I mean, that's not high. Again, it's still within normal operation. It's still about 78 degrees, 80 degrees outside. And traffic's still pretty heavy, so hopefully that was the end of it. But that was probably about 20-25 minutes worth of traffic. And we're gonna stop probably within the next couple 100 miles because we don't have a campground available. Unfortunately, with everybody doing RVing, especially with it going into like the springtime, there's just not a lot of campgrounds available right now. So like I said, this will probably be the last video I do before I fill up again, and then I'll show you guys all the numbers on the spreadsheet. All right, it is 8 o'clock Eastern time, and gas light is on. We have traveled 249 miles. We're at a Love's. Man, look at that fuel price, almost $5 a gallon. $4.93. Man, let's go, Brandon. Jeez, we are in some trouble. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call it a night. I don't know where to park at, unfortunately. So I guess we're gonna have to just squeeze out somewhere. Let's go over here. I don't like to park at truck stops because these guys, they got their trucks on. Is there a Cracker Barrel close by me?
Oh no.
I don't know.
No, maybe.
Want me to look it up?
Let's see. Let's just go around here real quick. Let's just see if there's a spot for us. I'll get fuel tomorrow. And like I said, we'll pretty much effectively end this video because we'll pretty much be at our destination. I could park right here on the side. Here, that's what we'll do. We'll just park right here. Here we go.
Steps though, right?
Yeah, we can get the steps out.
Okay. There you go.
Actually, let me straighten it up a little bit.
You can park right here, baby.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna park right there. That's good. Am I gonna clear that pole? Yep. We're good. We will check back in tomorrow, and we'll be pretty much at our destination. But we got 249.8 miles at 10 miles to the gallon. That's with grades, traffic, stop and go traffic for like probably 30 minutes at one point, and another 15 minutes at another spot. But all in all, we're good to go. My eyes and transmission cool back down too. You guys can see that it's at 170 degrees. So yeah, I'm gonna let it idle down for about maybe a minute or so, and I'll turn it off. And then you guys will see us in the morning. R.I.P. Alright guys, so this should be the second to last fill up. We drove a good bit of miles actually. Good a bit. Let's see what we got. Man, I am exhausted. So 246 miles in 3 hours and 38 minutes. I was speeding this time around, I'm not even gonna lie to you. So 10.4 mpgs. And then like I said, we'll just check off where we are. But this will be second to last, and then there's one more. And like I said, we will pretty much be done driving today. All right, we're gonna top off one time.
We're challenging your favorite drivers to the show.
Before I show you guys the spreadsheet, special shout out to Samore RV. He actually provided this to me and he used it in his video for his 2021 Ford F350 with a 7.3 liter gas. So here's the spreadsheet, and here are all the stops that we made. In total we did 5. Now the first one, this was kind of us heading back early March. It was $4.39 a gallon. Now we did spend $104.37 filling up on our first stop. So that was 247 miles. We purchased 23.738 gallons of diesel, and we averaged on this trip 10.4 mpg, which was the best for the entire trip. And then here's the cost per mile and then gallons per mile too. So this stop was not a truck stop, it was just a regular Shell station. The second one here was kind of a truck stop, but it wasn't really. It was kind of like a hybrid, but it wasn't like a Flying J's or Love. So the gas was just 10 cents higher. It was right off the highway. And then here's everything else that you see. This was a shorter drive because we had an issue with the window. And all in all, we got 10.1 mpg. So for the first day of traveling, we averaged 10.3 mpg. We purchased 36.71 gallons of diesel, and we drove about 378 miles, and we spent about $163 rounded off on diesel. So day 2, obviously we did drive more, so we spent more, and we actually averaged less fuel mileage too. Now the temperatures didn't really vary different between these 2 days, but for the most part we were in some stop and go traffic more on these rides. We were stopping a little bit more too for food, things like that, because we did drive more mileage. But nevertheless, we only spent $237.20 this day, drove almost 500 miles, bought about 50 gallons of diesel, and averaged 9.8 mpg on both stops too. So that was pretty much in line with the stop and go traffic and a little bit of grades we were climbing too. Now the last day was pretty much we were home, and gas was actually $4.55. This was a Southern States. I spent $79.54. It was a 173 mile trip back home, and I only purchased a little bit over 17 gallons of diesel and averaged 9.9 mpg. Now I didn't mention this, I didn't really drive the truck unloaded when we stopped. We typically were either hooked up, and the campground that we stayed at, we didn't go anywhere. We stayed within the campground and hung out. But in total, we averaged about $4.58 for diesel. We spent almost $480 on diesel, and we pretty much burnt through 104.66 gallons of diesel. And surprisingly, we averaged 10 miles to the gallon. So overall, I would say that the diesel is still a win for me, and it cost us about 45 or 46 cents a mile, which is really good. So that was, in my opinion, I think it's worth it. I think a diesel has its perks, you know, the exhaust brake, you know, the heavier truck, which helps when you're going down the road. I didn't mention DEF, so let's discuss this. So a lot of people, and including me, I would love to delete my truck. That's probably something I would do if it wasn't, you know, looked down upon from our people in the EPA. But nevertheless, when I got home, just to kind of give you some perspective here, I did drive to another fuel station that had a DEF at the pump. So I did put about, I think, 10 miles or so on the truck. So there's a little bit of difference there. So I wanted to point that out. And lastly, $3.85 was the fuel cost, and I filled up at $11.92. And if you figure with a 5.7 gallon tank, I used 3 gallons basically of DEF, and I basically got 342.3 miles to the gallon. I will say my truck has gotten better, or maybe I've just gotten better at driving a diesel truck. This is pretty good, I would say. The tank on the Cummins, on the Ram trucks I should say, are kind of small for the DEF. So I would like to see them upgrade to make maybe like a 7 or 8 gallon tank. But other than that, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys soon.